What would you like to know?
Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Christian Brown.
Yeah, I think CB is going to be able to go. Jamal and Nikola, much more questionable, and waiting to get a final word prior to making a final decision with their status.
Okay. And then looking at the previous matchups with the Lakers, what stands out in terms of priorities when you're playing them tonight?
Well, you go back to the last game, and they didn't have a large part of their rotation playing. And Austin Reeves had 37, Dalton Connect had 32, Shake Milton had 16 off the bench. And what stood out to me was we gave him 20 points on the offensive glass, and we gave him another 19 off our turnovers. So that's 39 points. And crazy ending. We're up, they take the lead, and I think outscored them 8-0 to close. On the road, you can't do that. They have Luka back. Their three-point shooting as of late has just been, top 5 in the league. Seems like we say that every night recently in terms of who we're playing, but, percentage, makes, attempts, these guys are getting them up, shooting at a very high clip. And I think the most important thing is, we got to continue to play fast. I think that was a big key in us beating Golden State the other night, down 3 starters. We got a lot of offense in our transition, and it's going to be the same thing tonight. I think the team that's won the running game in the first 3 matchups against the Lakers has probably been the team that's come out on top. So, hopefully we can find a way to do that again.
Michael, you mentioned that second game in Oklahoma City. You tried to get Joker to take the night off, and he refused. What are the conversations? Obviously, he's dealing with legitimate stuff here. What are the conversations been like him the other night and again tonight?
You listen to your body, and it's not just Nicole, it's also our training staff. I have to, as a head coach, trust our players as well as trust the training staff. And, I think somebody said the other night after the Golden State game that, what the Denver Nuggets did was a disgrace to the league. And I think that's just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, in 10 years, the last 10 years, Nikola Jokic has played the second most games in the NBA. 10 years. And the guys in that top 10, none of them are superstars. So if Nikola's not playing, it's not because he's sitting. It's not because he needs rest. It's because he's hurt, and he's trying to play through things that most wouldn't. And we're at a point right now where we have to do what's best for not just Nikola, but all of our guys as we move forward and try to close out this season. So we don't rest guys. If guys miss games, it's because they're unable to go out there and perform at the level that we need them to perform at. And I think that's really important that everybody knows that.
Following up on Austin Reeves, what makes him so difficult to guard?
How hard he plays, the speed in which he plays with an attack mindset. He's always trying to get downhill. He's done a really good job in terms of learning how to draw the fouls and the foul calls, getting to the foul line, an improved three-point shooter. But I think that the number one thing for me, Chris, is that when you watch Austin Reeves play, he doesn't play east-west. He plays downhill, and he puts a ton of pressure on your defense.
Hey, Michael, back to the injuries. When you look at even a bigger picture lens with the injuries that Jamal had earlier in the season and Aaron, how did you see the group try to navigate this challenge this whole season?
Yeah. It's, Aaron especially. I think Aaron has missed, I think tonight is Katie, 69, 70, something like that. And Aaron's missed 30 of those. And so you try to find a silver lining and take a positive from a negative. So what the positive has been is that Peyton Watson and Zeke Naji have gotten chances to play, and I think they've taken advantage of those opportunities. When Jamal Murray's been out with injury, it's given Jalen Pickett a chance to play like real minutes that he hasn't gotten in his very, very young NBA career. So even the other night against Golden State with 3 guys out, you throw out Hunter Tyson in the starting lineup. He hasn't played a whole lot since early in the year. He gives you 9.7 rebounds. You throw out Spencer Jones, who's a two-way player for us. He does some nice things for us. So when injuries happen, and they are going to happen, you can feel sorry for yourself, or you can find a way to have that next man up mentality and hopefully give other guys a chance, and they take advantage of that opportunity. And I feel like guys have done a really good job of that this year, of trying to fill in the void. And we don't have another Jamal or another Aaron, but the next guy who's being asked to go out there and play, just go out there and do the best job that you can do. And I think guys have understood that all season long.
Michael, if you can remember back to when you first got your first head job, I'm sure you had a pretty clear vision of the style I want to play. Like, these are the tenets or whatever, however you define it yourself, of what my teams are going to look like. I'm curious, just how quickly did you find that coaching in the NBA in a lot of ways is adaptability, and how much have you maybe veered strategically in ways, and what have you been able to hang on to?
Well, I think, when I got my first job in Sacramento many moons ago, you could have all the things in your mind that you want to do. And as a young coach, I remember Jeff Van Gundy saying this, as a young coach, you want to do everything. You want to be great at everything. And then as you mature as a coach, you realize, well, I can't be great at everything. We got to find a way to be, these are the things that are most important, and you prioritize the non-negotiables, if you will. But I think also as a coach, you have to look at your roster and play to the strengths of your roster. And it's, the funny thing about that is, so I coached Sacramento with DeMarcus Cousins. And I said, this guy's an all-star talent. We're going to play through DeMarcus, and he's going to be the focal point of everything we do offensively. So we didn't play very fast. But as most people want to do, they want to pigeonhole people. So when I got fired in Sac, and I was up for the Denver job, everybody says, oh, Malone wants to play slow. He wants to play 1982 basketball. No, that was a roster that I had. And so then you get to Denver, you have a different roster. And you identify, yes, this is how we want to play stylistically, but within that, who do you have, and how do you make sure that you are playing to those strengths? I think it's more defensively is where you can have your deep philosophical thoughts, this is what we're going to do, and get guys to buy in. But the game is always changing. What I wanted to do 10 years ago, we're doing things completely different now. And you cannot be stubborn in your ways. You have to be always open-minded and hopefully ahead of that curve, and you're not always playing catch-up, because as we know, the league is a lot different today than it was 10 years ago in 2015 when I was hired.
Michael, just strategically, the way you played the Lakers over the last couple of years and some of the success that you guys had, and then now with almost a completely different roster, still obviously some remaining pieces, how much can you take away from what you guys were doing in the past, and how much is that just irrelevant because of some of the different players that they have now?
Well, different players, different coaches, so there's a lot of change within the Lakers. And, we played them in the playoffs a couple of times, and you can take a little bit, but I think you have to live in the present. We're not going back and watching game film from the year we won the Western Conference Finals over them. It's more, hey, we beat them early in the season. They still had Anthony Davis. Game 2, they came into Denver and beat our butts pretty bad. Game 3, we were lucky to beat a really depleted roster. And now tonight, obviously, they have guys still out. We could have guys out. But they're a different team. JJ's coaching them. His fingerprints are all over this team. And they've added another MVP candidate in Luka. And the most amazing thing, I think, about that trade is just how the Lakers' defense has just gone almost to the top of the charts. And they play small. They play athletic. They play a lot of versatile guys, and they're just really disruptive on that end of the floor. And you have to be able to counter that.